everyone, and welcome to a new episode of our show. Today, we will be talking about fraud, which is a severe issue that many companies suffered from due to internal control absence or inefficiency. Today's episode is special because we are hosting employees who have worked in a company that underwent fraud. They took action and blew the whistle. We will be focusing on National Capital Trust Company. So let's welcome our guests. Miriam, the Manager of Finance, Yasmin, the Fraud Examiner, Dana and Sarah, Board of Director members through a video call.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We will start our topic today with a short reportage about internal controls. Internal controls have three main objectives, which are reliability of financial reporting, effectiveness and efficiency of operations, compliance with laws and regulation, for the purpose of achieving the organizational goals, providing all financial and non-financial information about the company's operation, and protecting stakeholders. Coming back to NCT's story, the reason behind uncovering the truth was Miriam. So Miriam, from your experience with other department managers, what are the supposed responsibilities that should be performed?
Well, all our company's departments work together as a team. This is how I noticed that some employees were acting suspicious.
What were you suspicious about?
I discovered some unexplained petty cash withdrawals and a large number of undocumented credit card purchases that were occurring frequently to the client's accounts. Also, the return on investments were received by employees but not always documented on the same time.
But Miriam, I think for the petty cash accounts, you should immediately apply a surprise cash counts and compare the amounts with the existing record, and any transaction that doesn't include authorized documentation should be rejected to prevent manipulation.
Yes, I think these actions should have been implemented. As I was saying, my department was mostly in cooperation with the investment department. We always shared information such as managing receipts and payments. Word to have it that the manager of investment let something slip without discovering any changes in the client's accounts. Clients' statements were not prepared accurately since the perceived information from the finance department were often based on real amounts.
But isn't there supposed to be an internal control department that controls the employees' actions?
Okay, for this question, why don't we go to the Board of Directors for an answer?
Well, in order to protect our clients' assets, Internal Control Department will be established very soon. This department aims to monitor and manage the operations and try to discover any fraud attempt. Also, they will ensure the accuracy of all financial information, including petty cash. This department will operate independently to guarantee the smoothness of the monitoring process.
Dana, how would you intend to control this department?
Applying a whole new system controlled by this department will definitely detect any fraud activities. For example, this system allows the clients to send the exact information about their assets either by email or recorded phone calls, which are the only authorized calls. Once caseworkers collect the assets, they should register them by a tablet to link the information directly to the new system applied to detect whether the information is identical to what the clients have provided previously. We are also applying text analysis software in order to monitor and control emails. We are taking into consideration all of these changes because, of course, clients' benefits comes first. Although profits are important to our company, but it is definitely unacceptable to be on the expense of our clients.
Yasmin, did this answer your question?
Yes, I encourage their action regarding their new internal control department, and from my work experience, they can follow some guidelines, such as developing an internal control framework, adopting a strict code of ethics, and applying auditing and maintenance periodically. And since NCT faced fraud, they can develop a potential fraud profile, test doubtful transaction 100%, use data mining tools, and use statistical method to detect fraud, such as credit cards fraud.
Let's return to Miriam and let me ask you, were these the only departments you had an issue with?
No, there were other departments that had their eyes on, such as the legal service department. Their manager's duties were honestly performed, but the problem was with his employees. They were manipulating the client's wills by recording a large number of amendments. This department's job is to manage the POAs of the clients in order to represent them legally. After the client's death, the manager has the authority to act upon the client's will.
In your opinion, in which department the problem began?
Well, the real problem was with the client services manager. I thought his action of hiring a new caseworker without checking her certificates or qualifications due to shortage was not a very smart move. I mean, it is his job to hire the best qualified candidate among all applicants. Processing new client forms and monitoring the relationship between caseworkers and clients to ensure their well-being is also part of this manager's job.
After discovering this manipulation, what action did you take?
After thinking for a long time, I decided to blow the whistle and tell the board of directors about what they have been doing all along. It wasn't an easy step to take, but I built up the courage to do it.
Wow, that was a courageous move. The audience and I would like to know the reaction of board of directors.
All Miriam's claims were taken into consideration, so an emergency meeting took place with all board members. In that meeting, we identified all risks and classified them according to their importance. Fraud is classified as high level of risk since our company's main activity is based on trustee services. Our employees can defraud our clients by falsifying their receipts or stealing significant amount of their deposits.
We are also considering some moderate risks. When providing financial services, risks may occur by using incorrect clients' accounts while depositing or withdrawing. And sometimes when we receive cash transactions, it is not deposited within the usual time frame of our company, and this often affects the accuracy of the amounts presented in our clients' accounts. I'm sorry. Actually, caseworkers can bribe the financial representatives to approve fake payments that miss the required documentations.
Are these the only risk levels?
No. Stealing is classified as low level of risk, especially when it's related to petty cash transactions. Those transactions do not require documentations for approval because of their immateriality, but unfortunately, those accounts were being used in an abnormal way.
What reaction did you take regarding these risks?
Actually, there are several controls that should be implemented or should exist in our company. Basically, we classify these controls as preventive or detective. Starting with the preventive controls, our company used to send 2 representatives to collect the client's assets, but due to shortage, client services department started sending 1 representative to collect the assets, which increased the opportunity of fraud. So sending 2 representatives once again is better.
To add on, segregation of duties control will be implemented to eliminate fraud risk. In our company, the manager of client services is responsible of custody, record, and safeguard the client's assets.
Sorry for interrupting, but regardless the fact that segregation of duties is the most important preventive control, what about dual control?
Of course, dual control will be applied for big payment transactions where a manager works with a regular employee step by step to prevent mistakes and eliminate non-potential errors that resulted from quick calculations.
Yes, and also, our auditors found that the receive and deposit transactions were not made at the time the cash was received. If the delay was due to work overload, then we will employ new employees. But if the delay was because of our employees, then restrictions will be applied.
Can you specify more?
Well, financial representatives must provide settlement of a client's bank account within 30 days. In case of exceeding those days, they will receive warning letters which will affect their yearly evaluations. However, we consider the cash in transit as another uncontrollable reason of settlement delay. As Lana previously explained regarding detective controls, we're thinking of applying an SMS service that notifies the client at the time that the deposit or withdrawal occur, because it helps us in detecting any unauthorized credit card purchases.
Interesting. Would anyone like to comment on what we've just heard?
Yes, I have a comment. Based on what I noticed regarding NCD case, a potential fraud test might start accidentally by a client complaint, and it can be detected throughout understanding a fraud triangle. Well, there are 3 elements of fraud triangle described in the auditing standards, which are incentive, opportunity, and rationalization.
Can you give us a brief idea about the conditions of a fraud triangle?
Sure. Incentive happens when individuals have reason drive them to commit fraud, such as a personal financial problems, while opportunity happens when they have a suitable opportunity to commit fraud, such as absence or ineffectiveness of internal control, while rationalization happens when individual lack of ethical values that make them act unethically. And based on recent researches, the fraud triangle has been developed into square by adding 4th element, which is the individual's ability to commit fraud. Back to the entity case, the most important element is opportunity. Whenever opportunity is taken seriously in consideration by the internal control department, the accidental fraud can be detected and controlled.
Now that we've heard about fraud incidents in NCT, let's switch to ethics. Miriam, as a manager, what do you think the senior management responsibilities toward their clients?
While treating clients objectively without considering the value of assets that each client owns is mandatory to maintain the relationship with our customers. We take our clients' best interest through reasonable decisions, and also we shouldn't take advantage of our authority over the client's funds. If these ethics do not exist, then risk may arise, and this will affect our company negatively.
To conclude, the company is in charge to provide the trustee for elderly clients, protect their wills, and to provide safety for their assets, because the elderly right to protection is a public responsibility. This brings us to the end of the show. Thank you everyone. Have a good day.